This is Super Yacht News with Sisman.
Okay, welcome back to the channel. All right, so in the previous video, you might have seen it, we talked about starting a new feature at the beginning of these videos. We call it YotSpot, for want of a better name. Some people actually like that name. It's starting to grow on me. And basically what we said is we're going to do a feature where people can send in photographs or video, preferably video of their yacht, or not of their yacht, of a yacht that they've seen. You know, we'll show it on the channel. It doesn't have to be in the news. It doesn't have to be owned by any Russians or anything like that, or anybody in particular that we're talking about. It's just a yacht that you've seen, that you like, that maybe you want to know more information about it, and then we'll feature it in this section. So without further ado, let's get on with that. All right, so the first photograph you see on the screen here, this is a boat called Bravo Eugenia, and this is at the port of Palm Beach in the US. Now this yacht is a 109 meter or 358 foot super yacht. It costs approximately $225 million to build. It was built by Ocean Co in the Netherlands, and it was delivered in 2019. The yacht is owned by Jerry Jones, who is from the US, and he owns something called the Dallas Cowboys, which is apparently something Americans call a football team. Just kidding, if you're a big fan of American football. All right, so the next boat on the screen is Motoryacht La Dacia. This is a 77 meter or 253 foot yacht built by Damon Yachting, also built in 2019. And then we've got one more yacht to feature here, some nice video footage actually. I have no idea what this yacht is called. Of course I do know what this yacht is called, and this is Motoryacht Nord. This is a massive 142 meter yacht, which you know very well all the details of because we've featured it a lot, and it's out in the Seychelles right now. I just wanted to do something different on it. So what we can do is we can look at some of the information on the screen as we follow that boat. One thing we can notice is there's no flag flying. Now, if it's before 8 AM when this was filmed, that's normal. If it's after 8 AM, a bit unusual. We do know that they haven't been flying a flag when they were in the Maldives, or at least in the footage and photos we saw, they were not flying a flag. You can also see, if you look up at the bridge there, fully enclosed bridge wing, which is very impressive and very useful. They can walk right out and look right down the side of the boat. So yeah. Also, you can see that the yacht is at anchor. If you ever see this black basketball thing on the bow of a ship, that signifies to other vessels that they have their anchor in the water. But obviously we can also see from this footage that the anchor is in the water, right? So, but if you ever see that black basketball thing, then you know what it's for now. All right, so we'll move on to our first story. Oh, before I go onto the first story, if you want to send in information for this feature, send it. You can, especially if it's video or if it's multiple photos, please send it using wetransfer.com to news@esisman.co.uk. Also, please don't send links to YouTube videos and stuff like that because we can't use it. You have to own the rights to whatever it is you're sending. So this is preferably something that you've taken yourself. All right, so we'll move on to the first story. Now, this is an update from a story we ran recently. We did a story about two yachts crashing into the Simpson Bay Bridge in St. Martin. Now, one of them, they happened 2 years apart, but they both crashed into the bridge in the same fashion. The first one was La Dacia in 2019. Now, when they hit the bridge, they hit it with more force, and they also had the mooring station door open, and it completely ripped the control box off the bridge. As you can see in this footage, you can see the man who runs frantically from the box moments before the box is destroyed. And in the second video, which is 2 years later, over 2 years later, very similar, but the control box is hit, but is not completely destroyed. Now, the reason we brought it up is because we were contacted by somebody, a seafarer, who goes through this bridge very often, and he said that he went through there on the 2nd of January, and the bridge the control box still hadn't been painted. You can see footage here from this YouTube channel who's given us permission to use it, that on the 4th of January, this boat is really struggling to get through that bridge. He doesn't hit it, but he's struggling. And you can see how close that yacht is to that control box, and that operator who's standing in the control box braver man than I am, I wouldn't be standing in there knowing what happened in the past. But what our seafarer said is that when they rebuilt that box, they rebuilt it in exactly the same position. They built it the same way. There's no extra protection being put in there to prevent a similar accident from happening again. I mean, the best situation would be to move that control box completely, wouldn't it? So if any boat does crash into the bridge, they don't hit that control box. So the video is dated the 4th of January. You can see the vessel, the box has been painted. So between the 2nd of January and the 4th of January, the box was painted. And then on the 6th of January, this happens with Motor Yacht Backer, and they hit that control box again. So it would seem that that control operator is in some danger if that were to happen again, because the box, you can see there's no strafes or anything to protect that box from being hit by another yacht. So it might be a good idea to move that control box rather than just keep repairing it in the same position. All right, so we'll move on to the next story. And this is also an update actually, and a development on a story that we covered recently. Now it was about a chap called Dmitry Mazepin. Now, if you're a Formula One fan, you'll know this guy. He used to have a son that raced in Formula One, Nikita Mazepin. He was sanctioned last year, and as a result, he lost his seat. Well, the father was sanctioned and the son lost his seat with the Formula One team because they're not allowed to do business with him. He had a yacht in Albia in Sardinia, and the yacht was called Aldebra, and the yacht disappeared even though it had been frozen under the sanctions laws. Now, we covered this in a previous video, but it turns out the development is that he actually owns two yachts, both called Aldebra. They were both in Sardinia and they both disappeared. They both had the same name, and you can do that by registering them in different locations, which is what he did. They both flew different flags. Now, it's the first case of in Italy that a Russian with frozen assets in the country managed to avoid European sanctions. What he did is that the financial police revealed that the first ship, which was worth about $700,000 to $1 million, or euros, sorry, left Albia in June and docked in a small port in Bizerte in Tunisia. That's something that we covered already. But the second yacht also left Albia and headed for Turkey. Now, it's currently unknown where either of these boats are. There's very little information about them online. We don't even know, we're not even sure which photographs to show in the section because we can't find any information about which boats he definitely owns. So the police announced that Mazepin had hired a company, a foreign company, which then hired a Sardinian captain who moved the boats. Now that company and the captain have been fined, an intermediate company they called it. They've both been fined up to 500,000 euros for doing what they did. And Mazepin faces similar penalties when they find him because the police are looking for Dmitry Mazepin now because they don't know where he is. But a police source said Mazepin is fiscally resident in Forte de Marma, a popular destination for the rich Russians, and he also owns a villa in the city. This is all in Sardinia. And a villa in Sardinia owned by Mazepin is also among the properties that have been frozen. So yeah, so they're looking for him. They're also looking for those yachts. If you see a yacht with the name Aldebra, please be sure to get in touch. All right, so one last thing before we go, remember to check out our Patreon page. You can find it at patreon.com/esysman. We have a lot of new patrons in the last week or so, which is great, and we're getting close to 100 patrons now, which is quite exciting. You'll get to see exclusive videos not published on YouTube. You will get early access to features advert-free, and you will also get to suggest topics for future videos and ask questions for upcoming Q&As. And if you sign up as a VVIP, you will get mentions at the end of all videos. So please be sure to check it out at patreon.com/esysman. Thanks very much for watching. Like I said, if you've got any information about any of the stories featured here or any other stories, please be sure to get in touch. You can get us through the About page of YouTube. You can get us on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger. You can also get us on Threema. Be sure to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell for future notifications. All right, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.
Captain there, he's looking happy. No idea what we're doing. We're going to tell you what to do. He's going to make a miss. There you go.